I'm working on a training right now for couples communication, and I just needed to pop in because I'm thinking a lot about how so many couples say they can't communicate, their partner doesn't understand them, that they think that if they just have better communication skills, then they will be satisfied in the relationship. But research shows that communication skills alone don't improve relationship satisfaction. And I think that one of the biggest barriers that I've seen as a couples therapist practicing for 15 years, as someone who has dedicated my whole adulthood to understanding relationships and what makes them healthy or not, is that the human tendency to judge is one of the biggest reasons that couples get stuck in dissatisfaction and ultimately break up or divorce. Our human minds are meant to judge. That is a survival mechanism. Way back before our modern era, it was more advantageous from a survival perspective to know where the dangerous berries were, which berries not to eat, than to know where you could see the most beautiful sunsets. It's more advantageous to help us survive to remember the bad. And so the human mind and the brain actually focuses more on the negative. It's designed that way. But in our modern era, when we don't have to worry about safety in the same way, we now do it with other people. I was really struck by something I saw recently, which is when I went onto social media, whether it was my YouTube feed or my Facebook feed, or even Instagram, I noticed how many posts were about judging other people, judging a recent album that people didn't like, judging the other political party that they're not, judging random people who have said comments they don't like, judging trends. And I'm just really realizing how inundated we are with judgment and how normalized it is, because it is how our human brain works. Our human mind would rather fixate on the album I don't like or disappointed by than the album that I'm loving, or a musician that I'm just discovering that I really enjoy. That's just it's kind of almost more pleasurable to think about the things we judge, the things we don't like, the things that are bad or wrong to us, because by default then, if things are bad or wrong, we then get to be better, we get to be good, we get to be right. And the human ego loves being right, and so it's natural that we judge, but it's also incredibly corrosive to our relationships. It takes a lot of skill to have a happy long-term marriage or relationship. There are people who can do it well, though, and the research calls them the masters versus the disasters. And kind of the word can be kind of problematic around master, but that's what the Gottman research calls them. And people who have happy long-term relationships, who stay together through the years in a happy way, they do things differently. And one of the things is that they literally see their partner through a positive lens. It's kind of like those rose-colored glasses. They look at the things their partner does with generosity, with kindness. Instead of that automatic negative judgment, they go to a kind perspective. And so, but the people who are really struggling and ultimately are dissatisfied or maybe even separate or divorce, they're people who automatically see what their partner does through kind of the opposite of a rose-colored lens. Like, you can call that whatever color lens you want to call that. But they're the ones who are seeing their partners through this negative lens predominantly. So like if they come home and the dishes are clean, they might think, oh, what does my partner want from me? Or must be nice that they did it this one time. But the masters, the people who are doing relationships successfully, are going to be like, wow, that's so kind of them. I really appreciate that. Like, awesome. Now I don't have to worry about that. And so it's really about training our minds to be kinder, less focused on the negative, less focused on judgment, so that we can have healthier and happier relationships. And we can do this in so many ways. For example, if you catch yourself judging anyone, anything, you can kind of maybe move to a different perspective. So if there's an album you don't like and you're thinking about the artist and how you don't like them or whatever that might be, instead refocus your mind and think about, try to find an album you do like. Maybe it's rediscovering something you loved as a teenager, a musician you loved as a teenager, and listening to that album, kind of switching the mindset. Cleaning up your social media feeds if like people are really negative and they're constantly criticizing and judging other groups of people, maybe unfollow or hide that, because it doesn't help this more generous rose-colored perspective that really helps relationships. And with your partner, it's okay if your automatic judgment is to judge. Like, that's okay. Like, that is human nature. But that judgment puts you automatically in a place where you're perceiving yourself as above them. And of course, relationships fail when people keep trying to one-up each other. Like, that's understandable. And so to put yourself more on an equal level, where you're on the same team, there's more love, there's more potential for connection, for greater intimacy. Maybe try to see things, this is going to sound super cheesy, but instead of judging it negatively, see your partner or their behaviors or their thoughts or their opinions or needs through your heart, not your mind. Look through the eyes of your heart. And so maybe your partner says something that disappoints you or offends you. You know, maybe they give you feedback. This is a recent example in my own life about how something that you're doing that might be overwhelming to them. Like maybe not being very mindful of their space. And your automatic reaction could be, well, I had things going on. They're being so hard on me. Like they're perfect. But no, with the eyes of your, like thinking through your heart, you can go, oh, how awesome they gave me this feedback. I want to make sure that they feel respected around me. And if they feel respected around me, then they're going to naturally want to spend time with me, and we're going to have better quality dates together and like fun time together because they feel respected and safe. So while that was hard to hear, I'm so glad I got that feedback. I'm going to see it through my heart, not through the perspective that one of us is right and one of us is wrong, because that doesn't serve our relationship. And fundamentally, that's another thing. Healthy relationships, relationships that survive in a happy way, people perceive themselves as on the same team, not opposite teams. So just some thoughts that I'm having that I wanted to share. Let me know in the comments, how this landed, what judgments that you might be redirecting for yourself. If it's like certain things that you really kind of focus on, like how you can retrain your brain to think about, the things you do like, so that when you have misunderstandings with your partner or there's regrettable moments, which happens with every relationship, you can see your partner through the eyes of love, which that's what you honestly feel for them. So let's return to that emotion. So sending love and gratitude, and I look forward to connecting with you again.